All right, everybody, we are live, Dynasty Mirror, early this Sunday morning, and I have the brother Awini Baba and the brother Emeka with us today, and we're going to be discussing. Emeka believes that Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanists are delusional. Me and brother Awini disagree, and we believe that there is a possibility for Pan-Africanism, and that for Africa and the diaspora to move forward, we're going to have to unite on a Pan-African front. So today, we are going to discuss, is Pan-Africanism, is it a reality? Can it be a reality? Or is it just a big wet dream? So, Awini, we'll let you go first. Do you believe that Pan-Africanism is something? Okay. What's that book? Okay, so he has a book, Emeka. So he has a book, Africa Must Unite. Emeka, how do you feel about this book, Africa Must Unite? Is it something that will happen or can happen, or are us Pan-Africans, are we delusional?
Unite in what context? Unite for good.
Yeah, let me. Okay. Yeah. Can I make some points here? I put this up for a reason. A lot of us are beginning to buckle under the challenges of lack of unity in the first place. I don't think that Emeka's position and ours is different. His interpretation might seem a bit different, but they all seek to meet the same aim. Now, Pan-Africanism does not deny the uniqueness of African people. In fact, we celebrate our diversity. This is what makes Africa so rich. I'm in Ghana. We have different things here. We're similar to Nigeria in many ways, but there's still some, unique cultures, even though I can show you with proof that there are a lot of groups in Ghana that are very similar to those in Nigeria, actually. So to say that we need to separate ourselves and have a clear-cut demarcation as to which group belongs here and so on and so forth. This has been going on for thousands of years. It's nothing new. And that system of demarcation did not help Africa, did it? If it was so good, then Africa wouldn't have been colonized. Some of and I hate to say this, but some of our people did participate in the slave trade. Some of them were forced to participate. Some of them, willingly participated because their souls were corrupted and they thought that they were better and more powerful than other Africans. We have to understand Pan-Africanism as a thought or as a philosophy. Am I still live?
Yeah, you are. Go ahead.
Pan-Africanism as a thought or a philosophy did not start in Africa. The foundations, and some of you, I follow keenly on this subject. Some of you who are familiar with Professor Clark, he will show you with enough evidence that the pioneers of Pan-Africanism, who maybe did not know that they were being Pan-Africanists, were Europeans, Asians, who were
When you're going in and out, brother.
false information that would make European pride disappear and show that the basis of all religions were taken from Africa. Basically, all major religions were taken from Africa. The basis of science was taken from Africa. It is these thoughts that went into the eventual making of Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism does not seek, and I repeat, Pan-Africanism. All right. I realize that the brother maybe having a problem with his link. I believe he'll be back.
Who? What brother?
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's here. He's here. He turned his video off. He's here. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah.
I had
So
connectivity. Sorry.
Yeah.
Please.
All right. So I want to state here and make it clear that Pan-Africanism or unity or the realization of the fact that Africans must fight for their right to survive in the new world order, whether or not we like it. The world of today is not the same as the world 1,000, 2,000 years ago. What we had in Africa, you would call, territorial states. Territorial states, they did work at a point in time. And this is a discussion that needs to be had on a different level altogether. The issue of nation state versus territorial state. And I believe this is what the brother was talking about, nation state versus territorial state. If you take Nigeria, for instance, Nigeria is a big country. Ghana alone would just go into one state of Nigeria, for instance, right? But the coming together or the making of the country called Nigeria was not on consensus. See, this is the basis of the problems we're having. Europeans came and they sliced up Africa based on their own, design, and they eventually ended up amalgamating African groups and putting them under the same administration. This definitely would be problematic. It is not only Africa that has this problem. You would remember that the issue of Catalonia in Spain is still an issue, because the Catalonians do not consider themselves Spanish. You see? So, yes, Pan-Africanism as a new thought in, this reality we live in is saying that let us see how we can work things out. Pan-Africanism does not take a permanent stance and say that this is how it must be done. Pan-Africanism is pragmatic, you see? And unfortunately, what we are seeing today is not the practice of Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism was not given a fair chance in Africa. You would recall that our early leaders, a lot of them got taken out. You would remember a lot of assassinations happened post-independence in Africa, right? And things went back to business as usual, you see? So I would like to state the position that I think Pan-Africanism takes is, let us see, you don't talk to a European about being Pan-European or Chinese about being Pan-Chinese because it behooves them to be Pan-European. You cannot be African and not seek to, protect the interests of Africa because it's your interest in your own tribe and group as you identify yourself, but you're an African. That's a fact. And the colonialists who came to Africa treated us like Africans. Some of us felt we were a bit special than others. The colonialists played us off against each other and used us to get what they wanted. You see? And so we are African. That's a fact. And the sooner we identify with that, the better. But this does not mean if you identify as being African, you stop coming from the Delta region. You're unique to your region. Everybody, I'm proud of where I come from, and I portray it everywhere I go, but I have to situate where I come from into the broader context of us being African and faced with a similar struggle. If you want to have a response to that.
Okay. Yes, I would like to say something. Thanks again for coming up here. And yes, please, we're all brothers. And definitely, I agree. You're my brother first, and you're a black man like me, and I'm a proud black man. And please, we're not enemies, we're brothers. So don't take this as because, we're not fighting. We're just having different opinions. But let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You know the difference between a nation and a country, right?
Yeah.
You know the difference between a nation and a country.
Exactly.
Well,
Go ahead and make a point.
I've written something in the past on this, and I'd like to read some few things here. A nation is officially observed as a group of people who share the same cultural identity. They share the same language, they share the same culture and lineages, roots, blood. For example, I am an Ihruoha man. I belong to the Ihruoha nation. My fellow Ihruoha people have same blood, same roots, same language, same culture, same lineages. We are a nation. Now, let me get to the country. A minute. Yes. I found it. It's in my old text from some days back. A country is synonymous with a state as it applies to self-governing political identities. For example, let me take another example because that would be a fair example. USA is a country all abiding by the same laws, same government. These states, not to confuse with states, are smaller communities that all adhere to one federal government in the country. As an Ihruoha man now, Nigeria cannot be my country, for example now, because I and my people were forced under British gunpoint to become Nigerians. But the Americans, for example, out of willingness, came together to form a United States of America with 13 former colonial states, British colonial states. So if we had the opportunity to say, good, we want to join hands and form Nigeria, that would be a different thing. But in our situation, we have to absolutely speak and work against the current boundaries, current nation states that were all created by former oppressors, imperialists, and expansionists. It is a shame for us to call ourselves great African Pan-Africanists when we want to uphold racist, imperialist, colonialist structures. We must do our best to get back to where we were before the white man came and put us together under gunpoint in their interest of creating British, French, Portuguese, Spanish trade zones. We are trade zones, former colonial trade zones. We are not nation states. We're not nations, we're not countries. Because none of this applies to us. My nation is Ihruoha. Then,
all right.
this country was created in London by British people under gunpoint. So it was not even like in the USA saying, okay, well, let's get together and form a nation. So that is why, my brother, to be very frank, as a Nigerian separatist, as someone that wants to break the evil colonial creation of Frederick Lugard in 1914 and Flora Shaw, his mistress, who named Nigeria in London. I must say that the honor as an African man demands
Hey, real quick, not to interrupt. I think somebody's mic might be rubbing on their shirt or something because you can hear the static. But okay, all right, go ahead.
I have no mic. You see me? I'm speaking with the laptop.
Okay, you're good. Okay, it might be you, Awini, but go ahead.
So what I'm trying to say is this: I can't be Pan-Africanist when I'm against Pan-Nigerianism. It's common sense. Secondly, you see what is happening in Nigeria. You see that there are clashes and dead people every day because different people with a different way of reasoning, with different value systems, were put together in a place, and this is creating problems. Different cultures, different value systems, different way of lives, creating cultures. Crashes, and which is causing blood. Do you read the news on 9th March? What happened in Nigeria? 11 people were killed, 50 houses were touched by herdsmen. Why? Because they put us in a place with people that have a different way of life. We are not herdsmen, they are herdsmen. They say Nigeria is their property and they have the right to herd everywhere. And they do not care about the other ethnic nations that want to live their own way of life. So you see different ways of life clashing with each other. So that is why I said we need separation. We can never be whole if we don't go back to what we were before the British invaders came. And before they came, I had several sovereign Ihruoha kingdoms, and it was okay.
A few, rebuttals I'd like to give there. See, what you are saying is creating the impression as if each kingdom was walled and protected completely from interacting with other groups. We did interact with each other under certain agreements, right? We did interact as different groups with each other, rules of respect. We did do so, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. But
we did.
As sovereign nations.
Yes.
As sovereign
yes. Let me come here. The difference, however, so the boundaries, more or less, from what I know and from the example I know in Ghana, the boundaries have not changed much. What has happened is, in order to facilitate colonial administration, these, countries, were created, right? Now, what is resulting in the friction is how the administration should go. I want to state categorically that Pan-Africanism is not against a forward movement of Africans returning to which system best suits them. Pan-Africanism does not defend, neo-colonialism. That is why I showed you Africa must unite, because Kwame Nkrumah argues that eventually we are going to have to let go of these borders that were given to us by Europeans. But in order to do so, we have to start somewhere. We have to see how we can dissolve these borders. It doesn't happen overnight, because if you do it overnight, there'll be chaos. Also, I want to remind you that the Pan-African project was abrogated with the elimination of the early African leaders who were very much aware of the ethnic diversity of Africa. They were aware of this. They belong to these groups and they know the issues. However, their approach was to, you understand how the African Union even started forming. You see, the concept is to galvanize together and to eventually convince ourselves to let go of, the power that we are clinging on to for a unified front. I do not think that America became America peacefully. You remember there was a civil war. It wasn't peaceful. It wasn't peaceful at all. The North was, had a different position from the South. And even up to this day, you have people celebrating with Confederate flags, and so on. So it's not that, glorifying as you want to make it look. My issue, however, with what they're saying is, for instance, the issue of herdsmen, especially Fulani, we have them here in Ghana, right? And it's an issue. But I do not think that this issue started when the Europeans came. We did have these issues dating before Europeans came. You see, so we shouldn't make some of these
No
issues.
herdsman was herding in the south, in the Niger Delta, before the white people came. That's
What
not
I am
true.
saying, I live in Ghana. The Fulani came in through the north. They have moved down south and they are herding there as well. That movement has nothing to do with the nation of Ghana because a lot of them are not Ghanaians to start with. They cannot show you any proof of citizenship or what have you, but they still come in. You see? So the idea that these people, I know that the Fulani issue in Nigeria is different, is larger because from my estimation, there are about 18 million Fulani people in Nigeria.
Never. This is false propaganda. The Fulani,
It is
Hausa Fulani, Hausa people are the majority in the north. The Fulanis are a
uh,
minority that are they are the overlords over the Hausa people. The issue is that every
well,
emir, wait, let me come in. I need to educate you on this. Every emir in the north is a Fulani man. Since Danfodo conquered the Hausa city states, Kano, Pula, and all these city states in the north, they installed emirs, and the Hausa people remained the peasants, while the royalty remained Fulani. The Fulanis in Nigeria are not more than 2 million, not more than 2 million, but they sit in all seats of power and in all parastatals of government, and they control. Because if you check, there has never been a Hausa president, but Fulanis have been president all the time, and as well, every emir is a president. So even central bank governors have been presidents. We are all Fulanis. So the Fulanis are in total. The British people gave them the power to sit there.
Well, what I also know is this, that Fulani stretch across West Africa. From my information, the president of Senegal is a Fulani, Macky Sall. From my information, Thomas Sankara was half Fulani. From my information, Dangote Aliko is kind of related to the Fulani and his Hausa. But that is not the issue. What I'm saying is the way that we are relating to each other today has of colonial manipulation. That is true because colonialists, what they did is, if they come into a country, they project certain people above others and they use those people to rule. That is what they did in Ghana as well. They do that everywhere, especially if the people that they initially want to deal with are not cooperative at all. Because a lot of our people, if you study Ghana, the Fanti, for instance, beginning when the Europeans started coming here, they thought that they could form an alliance with the Europeans to protect them from the Shantis. You see? And so the capital of Ghana was in Cape Coast.
Okay.
Hello, you guys there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Let me give a couple of shout outs real quick. LAR Movement, thank you for the super chat, brother. Soul Mystic Aum, thank you for the super chat. John Brown, Chima, son of NOK, also Mel. Thank you so much. LAR Movement and the other brother, Soul Mystic. Please send me your address so I can send you guys a postcard. LR Movement, I just got your address. So I have two options now. I have me with the Royal Guards and I have me with the King of Alada. So please send me your address so I can send you a card. Also, too, Awini and Emeka, I need your addresses so I can send you guys cards as well for coming on. So again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. This is the is Pan-Africanism a wet dream? I mean, can Pan-Africanism be realized, or are Pan-Africans like me and Awina, are we delusional? So we'll go ahead and continue. John Brown has a question in the chat room. Could we speak on how we could build African sovereignty through economics and industrialization? How do you guys feel about that?
Industrialization is absolutely needed. We need to be productive and should move away from this sales of our natural resources. We're just exporters of natural resources. We should become exporters of finished products. But as long we have this, as long we have these European states, we will not succeed, because I need my natural habitat to blossom, to succeed, to thrive. I don't need an artificial cage set up by Colonial. Okay, for example, now, we have been useless, we have been rendered useless as colonies. None of us can even physics in our native language. If we want to teach physics, we teach English or French. We have a long way to go. If we really want to get the best out of us, we must become who we are. And we can only become who we are when we start living in our natural habitat.
Okay. Let me see. I think we might have lost Awini. Awini, are you there?
Seems he's gone. Maybe that's.
Yeah, he'll be back. Probably the connection. He probably dropped off. So now, yeah, he dropped off. He'll be back. So, Emeka. So real quick, people in the chat room are accusing you, are saying that you are an Igbo, and Emeka is a Igbo name. Can you address that? Awini's back. But go ahead and address that first. Then we'll get Awini back on.
I'll address that. This is one problem my ethnic nation has always had with Igbos, and that is why we see the Biafrans as fascists that want to do the same thing Nigeria is doing to us now. Biafra wants to force us into their state. Same do they want to force the identity onto us. You have English people answering Michael. You have Irish people answering Michael. Michael Collins was an Irish freedom fighter. He fought for independence of Ireland against the British Empire. He spoke English and he had an English name. George Washington fought against the British Empire as well. He spoke English and had an English name. Those that are saying I am Igbo, let them hear it 100 times. I'm not Igbo. We have never been Igbo, and that is why we rejected Biafra, and we reject Biafra tomorrow, because they want to be another Nigeria in our lives, and we can never allow that. After Nigeria, we cannot enter another cage. I'm sorry. Let them say whatever they want to say. We Ihruoha people, we are free. We are Niger Deltans. We are never going to be subjugated by the Biafrans as they did in 1967 to 1970.
Okay. All right, Awini. So, how do you feel about what the brother Emeka is saying so far? Awini, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Awini. Can you guys hear Awini in the chat room? Press 1, because I can't hear him. Press 1 if you can hear Awini, or it might just be me. Hello? People in the chat room, press 1. Okay. You can't hear him? Okay. All right. No, they can't hear you, Awini. All right, so Awini's gonna hopefully come back on, but we can't hear you. So Emeka, so what do you for the future of Africa? how would you go about redrawing the, I guess, territories?
I would prefer an Ihruoha nation for my people, but I am a realist, and I know that the Niger Delta has a better chance to form a formidable nation. So the first thing I will do is to carve out the Niger Delta out of Nigeria and create a Niger Delta Confederation, a union of different ethnic nations of the Niger Delta, and create other similar states that have more similarities and are not maybe the Niger Delta might not be 100% homogeneous, but it will be far more homogeneous than what we have now. And we have different, we might have different languages, but we have similar value systems, similar religious beliefs, and we have intermarried and other stuff. So I would withdraw, but my wish, my ideal scenario would be every ethnic nation should have its own sovereign nation. That's what will bring long-lasting peace and stability to us. And I'm of that opinion. And Pan-Africanism, I don't see it having a chance. It remains a wet dream.
Okay. Let's see. Awini, can you hear us? Awini, something's wrong with your mic, fam. Awini. Awini.
Hello?
Yeah, okay, we hear you. Okay, we hear you now, Awini. Awini, what do you have?
All right.
Yeah. I was gonna say, what are your thoughts in regards to what has been saying so far? What are your thoughts?
Look, we need to be pragmatic. That's all Pan-Africanism is saying. By the way, Pan-Africanism, championed by Africans worldwide, advocates the use of African languages. We are returning back to Africa, but we're doing this methodically. You would admit that Ethiopia officially uses, Ge'ez as a script and uses Amharic, and even in Ethiopia there is a problem because the Oromo feel sidelined and other smaller groups feel sidelined in Ethiopia. There are issues all over Africa. Solution to these issues is not the promotion of separatism outside a common consensus. We are not, for instance, the issue of fairness and people within this new arrangement being treated fairly is something that we are all for. I am for it. I live in Ghana.
I don't want you to treat me fairly. No. I do not want you to treat me fairly. I will treat myself fairly best when I'm on my own. Nobody can treat me fairly more than I can treat myself. Nobody should give me something.
Look,
that's the difference between me
you need to admit something. You need to admit something. Pan-Africanism, whether we like it or not, we all live on the African continent and we are neighbors. You agree?
Yes.
You agree? We live together in Africa and we are neighbors. Whether we like each other or not, we live together. Now, if we live together and we are learning from history and we know that Europeans came here and exploited our differences, they did exploit our differences to their advantage. What be now is for us to see how we can, while we are preserving our interests, how we can make this new thing work. We are not, Pan-Africanism is not
scientific weapons. They had a weapon, they had an advantage.
No.
Europeans, wait, let me come. Europeans never stood a chance against African warriors when we had pistols and muskets like them. The Berlin Conference was created and commenced and initiated to stop other European nations selling weapons to type IA or type B because they all came together to be good. No, wait, I'm coming. For example, if the French wanted to take this place, this tribe would go and buy weapons from the British and beat the French. If the British wanted to take his place,
let me give you an
wait,
example.
let me finish. This tribe will come and buy weapons from the French. So they said, hey, England, France, you know what? Let's stop selling weapons to Africa, and that is how they really won this. We didn't have access to weapons, but when we had access, we were beating the asses, and they knew that. So our disadvantage was the lack of same firepower. That is all.
That you may say so. For instance, let me give you an example. You know, Ethiopia under Emperor Haile Selassie, came back and kicked the Italians out, right?
Yeah.
Right, with weapons, right, as you say, right?
Yeah.
But what happened to Emperor Haile Selassie? He was betrayed. This is what I'm talking about. Even if we had won with weapons, we would still have to issues with each other. This is at the core of what I'm talking about. It is not so much about what the West succeeded in doing. It's about what was the state of Africa that enabled the West to come in so much. Yes, the weapons was part of the reason, but another reason was because some people were only interested in protecting their interests. If we, even without weapons, if we had united a lot of the hinterlands going deep into Africa, Europeans, some of them would not even get there in those large numbers at that time, in those large numbers to cause any considerable harm. Our people assisted the Europeans at the point in time. Why? Because we have not found that place where we admit that, look, even if we have a few squabbles, because I know that ethnic groups in Africa, a few of them have squabbles against each other that date back long. Are you getting me? We have to admit that even if we have these squabbles, we still need to merge together and deal with a common threat that is waging on
I
our,
agree. Yes, brother, we can do
on
that
our
together.
continent.
Brother, thank you for that. Me and you, we can do that together. I agree. We can do this
Yes,
together.
but
But I want to ask you something. We can both be activists together, right? Me and you. We can both be activists together and fight for the common cause. Does it mean that me and you will go home to sleep in the same bed?
look, we don't sleep in the same bed,
Me
of
and you
course not.
will meet outside and fight for the common good of Africa. But me and you will not go home and sleep in the same bed, right? You go to your house, I will go to my house. So do we have to have different nation states? We can be
Look,
united on an African
okay,
platform, common good, but we need, and I insist, we need ethnic homogeneous nations. Absolutely.
look, that would result. That's why I'm saying that pragmatism is important in this. Pan-Africanism, if we meet and say, okay, we are fighting for, the promotion of Africa, addressing issues such as what you are raising is part of what we are doing. It should be part of the Pan-Africanism, and it is. It should be part of what we are doing. This is all about African progress and unity, and we should not only look at the issue as coming from without. We also have problems from within. That is what we must admit, that we had problems from within, issues
The
of
problems are
segregation.
multi-ethnic, multicultural,
Exactly. Of course. Of
multi-lingual.
course. Of course.
If we have homogeneous nations, we will still have problems, but we will have less.
Of course. Of course, there'll still be problems with homogeneous nations. But why is it that with our approach, all Pan-Africanism is saying that, look, let us find a common platform and let us do this in the spirit of the overall benefit of all of us. If all of us are happy, if individually we are happy, then collectively we'll be happy, right? If everybody feels fairly treated by each other, then collectively we can move forward.
No,
We
no,
can move forward. If we, yes,
I
yes,
don't want any person to treat me fairly. Get this.
you are not
I
getting
treat
me. You are not
myself,
getting me.
fairly. You're
You
still
are not
talking to me,
getting
but
me. No, no, you are not getting me. I am saying this.
ethnic nations.
No,
Nobody
no.
can treat
I am
my
saying
people
this
one
within
fairly.
the context. Can I speak? I'm saying this within the context of inter-ethnic relationships. Not all ethnic groups were living in peace. Some ethnic groups think that they have more power to bully others. You would agree to this, even
Yes.
long before colonialists came. That is what
Yes.
I'm talking about. That if we say that, fine, let's see how we can mind our business, then we can get along fine. But if we say that we must aggressively destroy the foundation that Africa was built on, the new Africa was built on, then we are setting the clock back several centuries, and it'll take us, will result in several splinter nation states, as you call them. And at the end of the day, the Europeans will still play us off. The Europeans will still succeed in what they succeeded in doing because
an Afrocentrist
we
mind will not allow. You're a Pan-Africanist. I'm an Afrocentrist. Afrocentrism, I take it like religion. Religion is something private. Nobody should ask me about my religion. Nobody should expect me to talk about my religion. And I don't need to give any apologies on the religion I follow. Same with Afrocentrism. And so Afrocentrism, I take it like I compare it with a religion. It's a private thing. And you won't sell out your religion, you won't sell out your Afrocentrism. So I know that good, I will not tell my brother because I put Africa first. I'm an Afrocentrist for myself, my family, me. I practice Afrocentrism in an individual, in a private setting. Setting. And that is the difference. An Afrocentrist, an European cannot play an Afrocentrist because I know that good. I am an African first. I will not sell my brother Awini, because if I sell him, it will affect stability in Africa. If I sell him, the European will come after me next. So I know that. I'm intelligent enough to know that if I sell you out, something bad is going to happen to me tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, they are different, but we are still Africans. I know that. But all I'm saying is that I believe that we can succeed if we have ethnic homogeneous nations. There's nothing wrong with that. We can do everything, but we need to have. I need to be a strong nationalist on my own level. Even come out to say I want to be a strong African.
All right. The issue that you see, you seem to be hung on semantics, honestly, because there is nothing about Afrocentrism that Pan-Africanism rejects. We don't reject Pan-Africanism does not reject Afrocentrism. It's an issue of semantics. What Pan-Africanism is seeking to do that is different from what you're saying is we are saying that the collective conscience of Africans needs to be built in a way that protects our collective interests. That is what Pan-Africanism is trying to champion. If you're talking about, for instance, even in Africa today, in Ghana, I'll take Ghana because it's what I know. I come from a particular area, which is in the northeastern part of Ghana. We share a border with Togo and Burkina Faso, right? We are, unique in our ethnic, identity, and we are proud of it, and we practice our and so on. But we do live with other Africans who have moved in from Burkina Faso, from Togo, from other parts of Ghana, and so on. So there is mixing, right? There is mixing.
Will you die if you have your own ethnic nation? Will anything evil happen if you have your own ethnic nation?
Yes, evil still exists whether we are homogeneous or not. Look, now the issue.
How would their life be worse if you have their ethnic nation? Explain to me how your life, in what way would your day-to-day life be negatively influenced if you had your own ethnic nation?
I don't think it will be much different from what it is today. In fact, I want to believe that it will be poorer in some cases, at least at the beginning, because what you end up doing is you're throwing out people who are there within the group and working with talents for the group. And the issue of ethnicity is very difficult to draw a thick line between which ethnic group is this and which one is it. Why am I saying this? Because
it is very, very simple in my place. Very simple. I don't know
You don't go back far enough. You don't go back far enough because most people think that they emerged from Nigeria. Archaeological evidence suggests that we all migrated here from elsewhere. And we do come from a common ancestry. So if you're talking about what the division has become now, then in the future, you would even have more division because you come within ethnic groups. There are clans. Each clan wants to identify with their group and propagate their interests and so on. There are always going to be interests, individual interests within every.
I read for you that the nation has a common language. My people are my people because we have one ancestor. That is why we are being one people. My people.
What I am saying is that your common ancestor. What I am saying is that your common ancestor also has a common ancestor with another group. If you want to go far back, then that's what it became. That's what it was until we got to where we are today. It's a continuous, system of.
Every family is related. No, every family is related somehow, right? We have families.
Of course.
Yes, but yet every family has its own house, right?
That look. Let me.
You live with the extended family in the same house.
Sure, in some cases, yeah. It depends on the culture you're dealing with. You see, but the issue,
People that do not bear a surname, people that do not bear a surname, their own surname, you live with them in a house. My brother, let's be honest. Everybody has his surname. Everybody has his family name. And Africa, every person must answer his surname. Every nation, every ethnic nation must have its own sovereign nation, and that is the solution. I'm telling you. Let us not pretend here. Let us not pretend here. We all know that we can differentiate, and we still differentiate, even as groups of lots.
No, my point of disagreement with you is that the approach to this is that we must now, at this point, break into nation states on language basis or whatever. However, the approach that
drastic situations need
early
drastic.
African.
Hey, Emeka, let Awini finish, and then you could respond. Go ahead, Awini. That's fine. Go ahead, Awini.
Our early leaders, in their wisdom, knowing Africa, just like maybe better than some of us do today. I don't know about you, but I'm still learning every day. They looked at it. They looked at it and they said, "Okay, this is what we are left with." Right? Even you agree that even when the colonialists left, there was a gap in power that some Africans were not adequately prepared to fill, and they went in there and abused the power. But at least the admission was that, okay, this is what we are left with, and we are supposed to be on our own, right? And let's see, if you come in my case, for instance, my mother comes from Ghana, right? But in the creation of Ghana, some of her relatives lived in Burkina Faso. Same. You see, this is to say that yes, the colonialism project divided Africa not taking cognizance of the ethnic, situation. They did it based on geography. That's what I can say from sitting here. So when our people inherited this problem, they sought out to reverse the problem. Because you have to remember that some people were enjoying power under colonialism and they did not want to let it go. You would agree that Africans were saying Europeans should not go. Yes, because they were being favored by the Europeans against their fellow Africans. Right? So when we inherited this problem, we started to see how we can go about it. So, like I started by saying that even the creation of a state like Nigeria did create a problem because there was no.
I don't hear what half of what you're saying.
Awini, you're going in and out. You might have to start over. You're going in and out.
Let me hello?
Yeah, go ahead. That's better.
Yeah.
All right. So I was saying we inherited the problem of colonization. We we got our work cut out for us. And as a result of that, we had to be careful how we would deal with this issue of ethnic imbalances in the control of power in this new arrangement called, a country, or some of us will call a nation state, which the issue is, in order to deal with this, our people did set out to take away some of the privileges. And some people still do not like the idea that Africa is independent because their group was being favored so much under colonialism, even today. And as a result of that, some of them made a colonialist to foster neo-colonialism, which is what we have today in Africa. The issue of having, nations around, ethnic,
Can I reply to this?
belonging is not
Can I reply
alien.
to?
And I'll continue.
Can I reply? Okay. You said some nations profited from colonialism. I agree. That is why you see, for example, Nigeria, Fulanese profited from British colonialism. But if we break up into ethnic nations, how will they profit again? They won't profit again. You see, so my brother, we should break up and you should support this call for break up into ethnic nations because
I am not.
we cannot profit over ethnic sovereign nations. You see, problem solved.
I am not against ethnicities protecting their interests. I think that part of the reason Africa is in the state it is in is because of underrepresentation of all ethnic groups, at the national level. I'm not against this. But
how better can we represent ourselves when we are in sovereign nations? Well, you see, on the
approach, however,
I am maximum represented. There is no way you can represent me in my own homogeneous ethnic nation. You see, beautiful.
The issue is this: whether we agree or not, we have inherited nations, countries. We have inherited them. Now, in order to find a way to, and I started by saying that Pan-Africanism has not gone the way it was. Otherwise, we might not have been having this discussion today. Because it does make sense that if you are forming a country, it does make sense to have equal or proportionate representation at the national level. It does make sense, which has not happened. Even in Ghana, it has not happened. And it's all over West Africa, as far as I know. Now, this issue needs to be addressed. I agree. The approach, however, if you're talking about having a nation within a country, there's nothing stopping anybody from championing their ethnic interest and progress. It's progressive, but we should do that within the context. This is where I think that we differ. We should do that within the context of a collective African consciousness that is aware of global affairs, that is aware how we suffer under colonialism and how we continue to be subjugated. We should do it in a manner that does not undermine our progress. That's all I'm saying.
Let me reply to this. In Nigeria, in the Niger Delta, in Delta State, two ethnic nations warred. Why did they war? There was an issue because of a local government seat. The Nigerian central government created a local government and put its headquarters in ethnic nation A instead of putting its headquarters in ethnic nation B. So A and B, you can't satisfy them both. Why not create two local government headquarters? You see, always creating tension where there should be no tension. You put the local government headquarters in this tribe land, and he did not put it in that tribe land. The other tribe land, the other tribe will raise up and shout and scream marginalization. So all these things. But if they all have their own ethnic nations, there will be no reason for shouting for marginalization of anything. You see, so still we can. There's no way. There is no way under this current colonial nations will have peace. Even Nigeria within, Nigeria exploits this, creating local governments, creating states, putting people head together to have issues, creating for the future. They can exploit tomorrow. So, but all these conflicts will die if each ethnic state has its own nation.
I don't know what you're talking about, sovereign. This is the issue about sovereignty. Because what would emerge if we follow what you're saying is several Africa would have a million and add, states, which creates a problem which creates a problem that Pan-Africanism, Afrocentrism, is trying to address.
I agree. Okay, so Emeka, let me ask you this question. Awini makes a great point. If we go by what you're trying to initiate, he's right. Then Africa will have damn near 1 million different states. There's really no unity in that. I mean, that will pose a problem. What are your thoughts on that?
Why would that cause a problem? Why would that cause a problem? Listen, you know that I'm a Niger Delta activist. I support the Niger Delta Republic because I am a realist. I know that I want an ethnic nation, but for me now, the most important thing is to pull out of Nigeria with other ethnic nations from my region that have a similar value system, similar culture. We are still similar on some level. We are different, but still similar on some level. We have at least 7, 8 regions like that in Nigeria, which we still heterogeneous to some level, but far more homogeneous in Nigeria right now. But even if we split into many little nations, look at only one German tribe. The German people are one tribe. They have 4 nations. They have Germany, they have Austria, they have Switzerland, they have Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein has 36,000 inhabitants. 36,000 inhabitants. Liechtenstein is as big as a football field. Why are we Africans why are we afraid of having micronations? Why? It doesn't matter.
Look,
we have
let me.
We have water.
I need to correct something. Austria and parts of Switzerland, they started speaking German not because they started off as German. You need to check that. You need to check that because Hitler had a lot to do with that. Now you know that Switzerland is. Hold on. You know that Switzerland is multilingual. You know that Switzerland is multilingual.
Okay. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But they still coexist as a nation.
Okay.
Now my point of
let him finish, Emeka. Let him finish.
Okay, because I want to reply.
My point of departure with what you're trying to do is look. If you look at Germany, I have studied Germany also. I have friends in Germany as we speak. Even southern Germans consider themselves Bavarians, and of being Bavarians, which is more or less a dialect, within the major group. They are their own country. It came up at a point in history, not very long ago. You can look this up, in the news map.
Let me educate you on the German people. Can I educate you just 5 minutes?
Go ahead.
The German people are one people. Ethnically, blood, culture, lingual, everything.
So why are Bavarians
we have different
for Bavaria?
We have different.
There are dialects.
Within Awini, let the brother Kima finish, and then you could Emeka finish, and then
Let's tell you about Austria, because you said Austria started speaking German. It's not true. Austria, it was part of Bavaria. That's what they call Österreich. And Österreich was cut out to create an administrative district out of Bavaria called Österreich, 900 after Christ. Now, Switzerland, Swiss people, there were two houses ruling Austria. There was Babenberg and Habsburg. Babenberg died off after 1,000 years, and Habsburg took over. Habsburg is a royal family in Switzerland. Germany, Austria, Switzerland, same people. Why do we have French speaking and Italian speaking in Switzerland? You know that Napoleon conquered Switzerland. Switzerland hasn't fought the war in the last 300 years. Napoleon was the last conflict they had. Napoleon came in with French and Italian soldiers, and you know that they settled there. Switzerland is still majority speaking a German white nation, a German nation. The Swiss people are German people. The people that formed Switzerland are called, the people that formed Switzerland are called Eidgenossen. Eidgenossen, meaning old brothers in German.
Are you denying? Are you denying?
Excuse me?
Can I come in? Are you denying the role of Hitler in the so-called colonization of these neighboring countries?
Hitler didn't colonize anything. Hitler is a German Austrian. Austrians are Germans, and Germans are their blood relatives. Hitler was the chancellor of Germany, and he took Austria as Ostmark back into the British Reich. So he took Austria and Germany, and in the constitution of Austria after the Second World War, Allah is forced to sign the constitution.
So you do
Hitler didn't colonize anybody. Hitler didn't colonize anybody because they were already Germans. That is why many Austrians joined the Waffen-SS and the NSDAP.
Hold on now, hold on. So you are saying that you know that there are dialects of German. I do speak German, by the way.
Yes. Ja, ich spreche auch Deutsch. We have Binarisch.
Yeah. Ja,
For example,
ich spreche.
Ja, und es gibt Binarisch, es gibt Hochplatzdeutsch.
Ja, also Hochdeutsch ist überall. You know this.
Hochdeutsch ist überall, aber es gibt Dialekte.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Even within the dialects.
They're not different types.
Hold on.
Emeka, let the brother finish his point.
Even within the dialects, there are problems because certain dialects feel that they have more of a right. Even if you depart from that and go to what is called the issue of the division of Ireland, you know of this, the annexing of Wales and Scotland to become the United Kingdom. These groups are not linguistically homogeneous, you know, and there are still issues. So the issues, the examples you want to give, within the German people, it doesn't exist.
Let me give you an example. Sorry,
Emeka, let Awini finish, and then we'll get back to you.
They are unified by virtue of the fact that yes, they are related, you know, ethnically and linguistically, but even within that unity, there are issues which you want to deny.
Okay, let me give you an example, because I grew up in a German-speaking society, and for example, Vienna is the largest city in Austria. Austria has about 8.5 million inhabitants. Vienna alone has like 2 million inhabitants. Now, the second largest city after Vienna is Graz, which has about 350,000 inhabitants. The second, you see the gap. Now, all the infrastructural projects, the major projects, all go to Vienna. Billions, people from Tyrol, Vorarlberg, and Salzburg, and other places put money together in one fund to develop Vienna, because you know that Vienna is the capital. If Austria was multi-ethnic, they would complain and say, wow, see all the money is going to Vienna only. See all the money is going to Vienna. We're in Tyrol. We're not gaining what we're supposed to gain. And nobody is complaining because they know that they're all people. They say like, they feel like, good, we're still all Austrians. No problem. Let Vienna be developed. It's the pride of our nation. No problem. Nobody is killing each other. If it were different ethnic nations, they would shout marginalization. Nobody is shouting marginalization in Austria because they're all one people. And then, so would we have more peace? You see, if
I don't
what?
I don't agree, because even if you have the same people who live in the rural, aspects or parts of the nation, it will come to a point where they will feel marginalized. If
nobody feels marginalized in Austria, everybody is okay, but most of the tax money goes to Vienna.
I am saying that there comes a point where there is discontent. It may not arise in Austria, but it doesn't mean it will not arise elsewhere, because the issue of uniformity cannot be achieved, in terms of development. But if you push so much infrastructural development to the metropolis and ignore, the hinterlands, even if they are the same group with you, the same tribe, they will tell you, and they will agitate if they need to, if they feel so marginalized. They will say, look, you need to look at this aspect as well. So this issue of having a supposed unity as a result of coming from the same stock, ethnic stock, I don't really. Yes, to an extent, it eliminates the issue of tribal or interethnic, issues. But even within, there will be problems, which is why my approach to what you're saying, the problem that you are having in Niger Delta is not unique to Niger Delta. We have it all over the place, even in Ghana, where I sit right now. Some of us in the northern parts of Ghana feel that because colonialism did not endorse the development of the North, the post-colonial governments have not given much attention in the North. I'll give you an example. My own father went to school through, said that we in the northern sector, did not deserve education. They only built prisons here to put political prisoners. Nkrumah was imprisoned here, and so on. It is people like Nkrumah who said, no, we need to create, some kind of balance in the development. So even if you come to Ghana today, you still see a stark division in terms of, or imbalance in terms of development. And even if it were the case that we were one ethnic group occupying the whole Ghana, we will still have this issue of imbalances if development was not coming to this part of the country. That's what I'm talking about.
Let me come in. Okay, in Austria, for example, now Vienna is the capital with drawing most of the resources. But still, because they are one people, they are one German-Austrian people, they did what? They still developed the hinterlands. They still put infrastructures in the hinterlands. Maybe not as Vienna, the capital, but they still made sure that every corner of Austria is okay. But in the case of Nigeria, they say, no, these are not our people. They can go to hell. They can suffer. We are born to rule, and we must rule over those people in the Niger Delta. We must rule over the Ihruoha people. We don't care about them, even if they're putting 90% of the budget through their oil. So you see the problem? They know that we're not their people, and we know that they're not our people, and they don't even consider to in any way compensate us. And nobody is doing that in Austria. The Austrians are helping each other because it is their duty as a family member. They are one family. We are not one family. And we know that. Austria knows they are one family. That is why they develop the hinterlands, they develop the rural areas to some extent. But of course, Vienna more, but the people are not complaining. And you see, we have, because of this heterogeneous state we have in Nigeria, this colonial setting, We have people that we are different, and that is why you have a president putting his own people in all parastatals, in security, in army chiefs, in army positions, everything, NNPC, oil, everything controlled by his people. And he knows that we are not his people. And he let us know. He let us know that we're not his people. You understand? And we know that. And we can only solve that if we have ethnic nations, because nobody can take care of me more than me.
The issue you're raising is valid, that there are imbalances, which we admit in all of Africa, we do admit. However, to draw an example from Austria and say and imply that the same thing is likely to happen if you have your own nation, I don't see how that can be a guarantee that you would think that what the Austrians did is what your nation, if you succeed, is going to do. It may not happen because even if you come within our ethnic groups, when the chiefs or kings have power, they demonstrate the same, in most cases, same level of corruption as the central government politicians. And even when monies and funds are passed through them to help in some agenda within their area, the money doesn't reach them. You see?
Yeah, but
so
they use the central government as an excuse.
But the issue.
See, you know what we have? For example, in my area, we use the central. Our people, the corrupt people, can use the central government as excuse. So say central government this, central government that. If I have my own ethnic nation, I know that hey, we're in charge. This is we. This is we. No excuse. And if you fuck up, I know how to deal with you because you are my brother.
Yeah, but the issue is that even if the people in the central government also mess up, there should be a mechanism to deal with them. This is where we need to be headed, is to say that, to insist that our interests, as your particular nation, as you are advocating for, can be advocated at the national level, and it has the right to be heard at the national level. It has every right to be heard at the national level.
As a separatist, I am not interested in any form of giving the Nigerian state recognition or validation by participating in its fraudulent democratic exercises.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't agree that that's the way to go. I think that dialogue is very necessary. You are talking separate.
We were losing you some, Awini, but go ahead.
So this issue of separatism can be championed at the national level because you do have representation, and I am 100% sure that it is not only you who feels this way. There are other groups in Nigeria, in other parts of Africa, who feel marginalized. These groups can come.
Participation gives the fascist central government recognition. How did the Irish people get independence? When the Irish people fought the British Empire, and later on the British people agreed to give Ireland some seats in London in the parliament. The first day the Irish people were invited, 16 Irish representatives refused to go to London upon they were the first elected representatives for Ireland. They all refused. They kept on refusing because the best way to destroy a tyrannic system is by refusing its giving it recognition, by ignoring it. The more we get sucked into this evil, we understand that Nigeria is the greatest problem of all ethnic nations in the Niger Delta.
So then, can you explain to me how is it that Ireland is divided? If there was that resistance, gave something for the British to capitulate and divide the country.
What happened in Ireland was that the British people and their, I think, 7 or 13 duchies in the north, they relocated They relocated English Protestants. They massively relocated English Protestants, and that is why that area is more of English people or more of Protestants. The North Island, they are not
but it's
as it was a trick.
country. It's Irish country.
Excuse me.
They manipulated it in a way that would make it suitable for Britain to take part of, still control part of Ireland. Of course, by sending some of the people there and so on, but it didn't in their favor. But what I'm saying, what I am trying to, my point is, we need to look at this very clearly. You feel, and of course, I'm not saying this to be insulting, but you feel, this is the only way. I disagree that this is the only way. I think that there are platforms. Yeah, I think that there are platforms to champion your interest in a way that does not derail collective African unity, collective African development.
The Nazi,
because
the Nazi Reich, the Third Reich, Hitler's Third Reich was a state. Nazi Germany was a state, and Hitler was elected democratically, and he passed legislation democratically. Now, how was it destroyed? Was it destroyed with agitation? The Jews and other people that were killed, did they agitate in the Nazi parliament when they know that the Nazis are there? The Nazi kingdom, the Nazi Reich was destroyed for peace to come. So do we have to destroy borders? Nobody ever told a Jew or communists or other people, Russians or other people that were maltreated and marginalized like slaves in Hitler Germany to go and agitate with the central government or ask for representation. That's crazy. Nigeria is like a Nazi Reich to us. Nigeria has killed many people. Nigeria killed Ken Saro-Wiwa and many other great Niger Delta sons. So please, how will you tell me to go and with the Nazi central government? Telling us Niger Deltans to go and fight with democratic, or let me say partake in the fascist system. It's like telling someone in Auschwitz to go and partake in the Nazi Third Reich system. It doesn't make sense. No. We need a clear cut.
I disagree with you completely, because that would be to say that apart from you,
Awini, you're going in and out a little bit.
Hello?
Yeah, okay, that's better. That's better.
Because apart from you, Nigeria are fought against you. Everybody in Nigeria is against you, which I don't believe.
Excuse me?
I don't believe that. I don't want to believe that there are no other ethnic groups who equally feel marginalized, have that you can collaborate with and make your voice.
I can collaborate with Niger Deltans that are as well marginalized, that are in the same situation like my ethnic nation. That is why we want a Niger Delta Republic. We are all marginalized by the same. That is why we want to come together and form a Niger Delta Confederation of ethnic nations in the south of the yet Nigerian fascist state. Our region is being occupied by the fascist Central Occupation Forces, and we are still marginalized. We want to bond with other ethnic nations in the region that are marginalized and form a sovereign nation.
Yeah, well, for me, would only result in chaos. That's what I see coming. It will result in chaos because it's going to create issues similar to Biafrans, to do. And if other ethnic groups
repeat it. I didn't hear you.
I said
we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Awini. But go ahead, repeat it again.
I said it's going to create chaos because if you, in the current state of events, do this by the way you're seeking to do it, then it would mean you will come face to face with the issue of undermining the internal unity of the country within which you live. I do not think that's the way to go. Your aim is laudable. We all share it. We have similar issues here. My ethnic group has similar issues here in Ghana as we speak. And if you speak to Nigerians who know Ghana well and they have been up north, they will tell you the level of marginalization and neglect in many aspects of our development. However, we are trying to address this issue the diplomatic way first.
Okay, wait, let me ask you something. Do you know that Hitler Germany annexed Sudetenland, later annexed the entire Czechoslovakia, which was taken by the Nazi Reich. Now, will you say that it is bad for Czechoslovakians who are of Czech and Slovakian origin to agitate for separatism within a Nazi Reich that has swallowed them?
Mm-hmm. Well, the issue.
Hey, we're Awini,
Hello?
you're gonna have to repeat that, Awini. We're starting to lose you.
Hello?
Yeah, okay, that's better. Go ahead.
Let's draw a line between pragmatism and agitation in the form that you're talking about. If you go the way you want to go, what do you foresee happening to the concerns you are championing? What timeline have you set for yourself to have?
Dang, we're missing. Awini, we're Awini.
You have going to go about the creation of the nation state.
The first thing we have to do is we need total openness, open minds, open hearts within the Niger Delta. The soft will be same in the conference. We have around the region, and
but both of you guys are going in and out. I don't know if that's on my end. People in the chat room, press 1 if you can hear Emeka right now. Press 1.
Yeah, you can go on.
Go ahead. Go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you the is advocating for, in principle, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with wanting to identify with a group that you feel represents your background. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to see that group succeeds within the overall, modern national, interest. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to create a standalone state within the arrangement that you have there in Nigeria, and if other African countries want to follow suit, they want to do the same. What is going to happen is that you are going to alienate yourself. You are going to end up dividing your people, because not all of them will agree with you. They may agree in the spirit of what you are trying to do, that it helps, it helps champion their interests, but the methodology, they will disagree. For instance, my group is I identify as this. I interact my people, and so on. There is nothing within the arrangement in Ghana that stops me from being this. Where I have a problem with the arrangement in Ghana is that marginalizing some, because we also have our potentials within our regions that have not been explored. For instance, people are mining on a small scale level now, but government attention has not come to it as it has been done in other parts of the country, especially in the south. So if we want to bring this up and say that, look, you need to look at this, then we need to keep.
Did you say that my people want freedom from a fascist central government? Did you just say that not all people want freedom in the Niger Delta? We know that we have people that like the status quo, but definitely the majority wants.
That is not what I'm saying. You are asking for freedom because you feel that being met, and you feel that this country.
Freedom because we never created the state in the first place. British people created it. It should have never been there.
But the bigger issue at hand is that even if British created it and you had your level of maneuvering and level of development, I don't think the complaints would be like this. You see? So now the issue is that the people, your people, may agree with you in spirit that, look, it's good to be independent, it's good to have our way in terms of benefiting from our resources, having our language, using it to the highest level we can use it, which is something that all Pan-Africanists and progressive Africans advocate always. But where I agree with you.
Okay, I understand from what you said today now. Pan-Africanism is we should take shit from our fellow Africans we wouldn't take from white people, and that is Pan-Africanism. Because to me, I know that.
Hold on, Emeka, that's not true. That's not Pan-Africanism.
No, it is true. The issue is this. The issue is this. We wanted independence from colonialists. We wanted independence from colonialists. And now you're telling me that I am not allowed to have independence from colonial nations. Or I should not.
No. That is not what I'm saying.
I should partake in the colonial fascist central government.
No.
But nobody expected the Czechoslovakians that were occupied by Nazi Germany to partake in German politics. Nobody expected the Jews to partake in the German and Nazi politics. But they expect me as a man in the Niger Delta to partake in the central government that was created by the British people and handed over to the Fulani people who want me to go there and partake in its fraudulent electoral exercises and give it recognition and validation while I'm still suffering, while people that like Ken Savunuba were hanged after international process and everything because of all this. You want me? No, please.
No.
Pan-Africanism, I understand you want me to swallow things I would never swallow to the white one because he's a black man.
No, and I need to come in here. You shouldn't use that language saying
if a white man gives me death, same death as if a black man gives me death.
Hey, Emeka, go ahead, Awini. Go ahead.
Look, nobody is saying that Pan-Africanism supports the status quo. Anybody who is of that view does not understand Pan-Africanism. All right? By
you there, Awini?
Means win or get what doesn't mean you are taking shit.
Yeah,
hello?
You're going in and out, but go ahead.
I said that anybody who thinks that Pan-Africanism means taking shit from fascists and neo-colonialists does not understand Pan-Africanism. Anybody that thinks that Pan-Africanism supports the status quo, and I mean it supports what's happening in Africa, also does not understand Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is progressive. It has championed and continues to advocate for African unity, African progress by whatever means that is reasonable. Now, there comes a point, or comes a time where dialogue fails and further action needs to be taken. Now, to say that by using other means to get what you are looking for, which is independence, and I don't know the extent to which you are talking about independence. If you're talking about complete independence, you want to stand as a nation, the means that you use to do so is very important. If you are going to go about it in the way that is violent, in a way that puts you face, no, that puts you face, because you are using these words that you will not go and talk with fascists, you not talk with all of these people who colonialists put there, but you have to admit that that is the current arrangement.
Yeah, same was with the Nazi Hitler Germany. It was this current arrangement. Nobody expected the oppressed people.
Though it is the current arrangement, nobody is saying it should remain so. You are talking as if we are saying that the status quo should remain. We are not saying so. We are saying that the approach to realizing this needs to be looked at carefully, because if it's not looked at carefully, it will result in a disaster. I'm telling you.
We already have a disaster.
Separatism. If you look at
people were killed in the Niger Delta, like Ken Sawan River. Many other activists were killed in the Niger Delta because they were using the pen and the paper, and yet people killed them. So what approach do you want again? We are very peaceful. We are doing our best. We still need to push on for independence.
No, yeah, I agree. But this independence you are looking for, it needs to also consider overall effect of what you apply on the African continent. You see, you have to look at it. You have to look at how this is going to be realized in a way that does not undermine Africa's interest. That's all we are saying. So unless you are going to give me a workable methodology, that
I'll just give you one proverb. Lieber ein Ende mit Schrecken als ein Schrecken ohne Ende. You know what it means? Lieber ein Ende mit Schrecken als ein Schrecken ohne Ende. You can speak German. You know what it means?
Look,
it means I better have a shocking end than a never-ending shock. I better have a shocking end than a never-ending shock. Nigeria now is a never-ending shock for the marginalized people of the Niger Delta. It's better we have a shocking end than a never-ending shock in this Nigeria.
Of course, right to do. Everybody has the freedom to do so. But how do you differ from what do you call the Biafrans? How do you differ from them?
Our modus operandi is absolutely different. The Biafrans are not a topic in this discussion. The Biafrans, if you want to know their modus operandi, we will make a video with a Biafran. I'm not a Biafran, I'm a Niger Delta activist. And I do things differently. For us, our main issue now is to put all ethnic nations in Niger Delta on one table and agree that we can have something similar to the UAE, United Arab Emirates, which is a united federation of 7 different Arab ethnic nations. A united federation of 7 different federations in the UAE. Each people agree on having a common goal in foreign politics and defense, but internally have different internal powers over taxation, education, infrastructure, stuff like that. That is our dream, a confederation. And it is up to us to have a sit down with all ethnic nations and agree upon something, and then find a strategy to find a way to lead the fascist central government of the occupation forces.
How did I want to Pan-Africanism get dragged into this as something that is a concept that is inimical to the concept of having a unified group of nations working together. Because if you take away the colonial borders, what would essentially groups, nations.
I didn't hear you well. I didn't hear you well.
You were going in and out, Awini. If you could repeat that.
What then prevent Pan-Africanism? What Pan-Africanism into the language a principle or philosophy that is against progressive, recognition of individual, ethnic nations within, our in Africa. Or achieve is that if we end in removing the artificial borders that were put by Europeans, what we'll be left with is what? We'll be left with these ethnic groups, or nations, to use the term.
Amir, if you want us to have that debate, we need to have a stable line so that I can hear everything I can reply him, I didn't get 80% of what he was saying.
Awini, you keep going in and out. I don't know if it's the connection, but we can't hear you.
Let me reposition myself.
Okay.
All right. What I am saying is Pan-Africanism as being brought into this argument as something that is against individual groups within the continent. Which, if you put it in the right context, is all progress for Africa, right? If what Pan-Africanism is trying to do succeeds, you will not have artificial borders such as Nigeria, such as Ghana. We will not have these artificial borders. What is really is ethnic.
I'm not hearing anything.
Hey, Awini, we can't hear you, bro.
Network is really bad. Is it better?
All right, go ahead and repeat what you were saying, but you keep going and it's not clear.
Let me see if how is it now?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying that the idea that Pan-Africanism is against the achievement of what do you call it? Promotion of group interests, ethnic interests, is erroneous, and we should get rid of it. Seeking to do, if it succeeds, eventually what it will do is it will remove the colonial. If it removes the colonial borders, automatically what is going to remain is the ethnic groups who
But
have
you just gave the colonial settings validation by saying we should go to the central government, which is a colonial setting, to participate in the system and electoral exercises. While we all know that
said you do that,
a fascist system lording and occupying our lands.
I said you do that. That is only one. You can do that in order to achieve what you want to achieve, not to go and participate and forget. You can keep making noise from doing so. The news, yeah.
Awini, you might have to move again. You just keep going in and out, bro.
Hello?
Yeah, that's better.
He said what he's saying is definitely not my position. I'm not saying that by going or making at the you are participating in your own oppression or participating in your own problem. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it is just one means where you can have your voice heard at the national level as
at the national level. We sound like a broken record. We have, How long shall we be doing this? We can't continue like this. We need drastic situations, need drastic measures. We have to totally cut the central powers, the fascist powers. I'm telling you that again. I said it in the last show. Something I learned from Albert Einstein, which is absolutely common sense. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Insanity is doing same thing over and over and expecting different results. They hanged Ken Saro-Wiwa. He was a very peaceful agitator. He was speaking for the people of the Niger Delta, and he was killed by the fascist powers. Same fascist powers are there today, and you want us to go and meet them. You want them to hang us again, or what do you want exactly?
So no, hold on, hold on. I'm not saying that that is your only line of action. All right. Uh, there are other groups within Africa who also feel marginalized. The issue, Africanism in of endorsing this situation, and I don't know where that is coming from. Pan-Africanism is seeking to achieve can be realized within the respect for.
I mean, come on.
Hey, Awini, do this. Refresh your page and come back on the Hangouts because it's just the connection.
How is it now?
That should be better. But go ahead and continue.
Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead. Let's see if that works.
It's clear now?
It should. I think so.
Yeah. What I'm saying, and somebody's accusing me. I'm not. I don't think I'm sounding like a broken record. I think that if you have tried one,
As to me, sounding like a broken record now. Not you, please, brother. Not personally you. I'm cool with you. I hope I see you one day and we drink coffee together.
What I'm saying is
just saying, in general, Africans are sounding like broken records to me.
The approach is this: if you have tried a certain method and it hasn't yielded the desired results, there are other methods to try. All right, there are other methods to try. However,
for example, cutting off and stopping the central fascist occupation forces, validation and recognition by collaborating and by participating in their fraudulent electoral and democratic exercises.
You if you do that, if you do immediately
I mean, man, this is getting boring, man. Really serious.
Awini, you gotta I don't know, move positions, or what we'll do if you could just, I guess, restart your browser or whatever. Maybe it'll come back in clearer. But you keep going in and out. It's real choppy. All right, I hope everybody in the chat room is enjoying the discussion. We're gonna go ahead and close out here shortly. I'll allow Brother Emeka to give his closing statements, and then I'll allow Awini to give his closing statements as well. But Awini, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and finish. So, Awini, go ahead and finish your statement, and then I'm gonna allow Brother Emeka to give his closing statements, and then you'll give a closing statement. Then we'll go ahead and close out.
Yeah. So, in the approach to achieving this, I do not think that Pan-Africanism is opposed to any group in Africa championing their interests. I don't think so. Where that idea is coming from, I don't know. I think that ultimately, if what Pan-Africanism is seeking to achieve comes into fruition, what is going to happen is that the artificial borders that the colonialists brought and put in place, they will disappear. And when they disappear, automatically, what will emerge is individual groups, ethnic groups, representing themselves. That is what is going to happen. Now, that hasn't happened yet. But to accuse some of us who say that, look, let's look at how we can go about this. Let's do it in a way, and I think fundamentally this is where our point of digression is. Myself, I feel that whatever problem Africa has, or people within Africa have, they should address those problems in a way that protects our collective African interests. That's all I'm saying. It does not mean that they should endorse status quo. It does not mean they should enjoy their marginalization and accept it. It doesn't mean so. All it means is that whatever we do, let us think of course, ourselves, and then the overall effect it has on us as a people. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, brother Emeka, you can respond, and also when you respond, go ahead and give your I guess your closing statements as well.
Anywhere you find fascism in this world, and history has taught us, there's no soft approach to fascism. Same way with German fascism, Italian fascism, we were all destroyed. And then
but this is where I'm confused. What does Pan-Africanism have to do with fascism?
You are, and I will say it again, and I know he had a different response, but telling you know that Ken Saro-Wiwa was hanged by the Nigerian federal school. You know that, right?
I know the story of King Saro-Wiwa. We celebrate.
He was hanged by a central Nigerian government. And even after international protests, he was that is fascist. And the Nigerian state deploys armies to our region to harass, humiliate, and malhandle young Niger Deltans day by day. That is fascism. Nigeria is an occupation force. Nigeria is an occupation force in the Niger Delta region. And if this is not fascism, what is fascism? And what pains me is if a Pan-Africanist says we should go and look for representation or more representation, what joke is that? In Nigeria, the system doesn't allow more than that. The system doesn't allow more than that. The system was created to benefit a certain people. The people that built this know the system more than us. We can never outsmart the British people. They built this and they programmed the nation in a way that there is a north and south dichotomy. There is enough potential for conflict in future. You want me to go to that very evil central system that was created to hang novelists and peaceful agitators? You want me to go and do what there? I have told you that we can no longer take this. We have to cut. We need a drastic cut with the Nigerian fascist central system. We do no more have to continue playing along to get along. We can no more validate and recognize them by collaboration through the ballot box or through participating in their democratic system and runs. And we have to absolutely find a drastic solution for this drastic problem. Drastic situations acquire drastic measures. We cannot continue to do things the same we did. We need a total reboot. We need a total think through. I do not have all the answers because we have thousands and I don't know how many Niger Delta activists, but we're in consolidation and we need to move around all the 6 Niger Delta states to get together and find a way out and leave this fascist prison called Nigeria. We can have a state like the UAE that is made up of 7 federations together in a united UAE. And the good thing with that is any day anyone wants to leave, you're already set with this structure, with the political, democratical, and infrastructure to have your independence. Every of these 7 federations today can gain independence because they are already demarcated within the UAE. So we are searching for a solution like that, and we are going to get it. And by God's grace, we are going to get it and live for once and for all, and create the nation states that were created by us Africans. Nigeria trying to continue to defend this Nigeria and telling us to go and meet them. Nigeria, everything should be ashamed that we're even still talking about Nigeria, because Nigeria was created in London by white people, not even by us. But the name, the Nigeria, everything was created by Frederick Lugard and Flora Shaw in London in 1914. We have to do things differently. We have to do things from African nations made by Africans for Africans. We can't continue upholding made by Europeans for African systems.
Yeah, just a quick rebuttal. If you are under the impression that Pan-Africanism is saying that your only and only means of addressing the problem is going to sit with your government, then you are wrong. That's not what Pan-Africanism is saying. Pan-Africanism is saying that let us find a solution that does not create a bigger problem for us. All right, and if you are not
Emeka, let the brother finish, please.
And if you are not getting results at your national level, then there are other avenues that human brains can sit down and fashion out. Are you getting me? Outside of the Nigerian arrangement to get some results. Okay, so the idea that we are pushing for a solution, not true. And I want that to be put out there and corrected.
I'm happy you agree at the end to dissolve Nigeria. Thank you.
I do agree that this issue of, because I do remember myself and Dana had a show about how we can reverse some of the effects of colonialism.
Yes.
We talk about the challenges that come with the creation of new, that an nation, several ethnic groups. Remember that. You see, but if we want to do it progressively, then I do not think that anything outside of dialogue is going to work. I'm sorry, you may disagree. I don't see how you use force to get what you want within Nigeria. You would go much further if you solidarize with other groups who feel the same way, not only what you call Niger Delta states, but other groups, not other parts of Africa.
Did you see how you see how they killed the peaceful agitations of Biafra? You see how they killed the Niger Deltas that want to agitate? Dialogue, we look for dialogue, and every day a fascist system answers with death. So please, how do you dialogue with a fascist system? You're talking about
that is what dialogue. I'm saying. There are different avenues to change this. And you see, we have to, this is why I speak as a Pan-Africanist, because whatever I also look at it within Africans.
I'm not hearing anything.
Hello?
Yeah, it's just the connection on your end.
Oh, man.
Real bad. Yeah. I mean, it's better for now.
All right. But I said that what makes me a Pan-African is that whatever problem I look at within Africa, I look at it not only narrow perspective, but I also look at it the broader African perspective. This is very important. We do not look at problems within the broader African perspective, then we may even end up against. You see, because what you are talking about is not unique, to Nigeria. I gave you the example of Ghana. There are several African where we have this problem. Now, if we say, okay, we need to have a solution to this, and obviously, then there must be a different methodology. If the first methodology doesn't work, if the second methodology doesn't work, we pick another methodology. But if we go full out violence, or even things that is said to go that tangent, I think it's going to work against the what we are trying to achieve, which is essentially recognizes everybody as an equal part and to give everybody that respect and sovereignty to control certain things. I don't think anything within this is wrong and Pan-African, as long as it can be situated within African unity we're trying to achieve. There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, I will say this. Forceful unity is slavery. We are Niger Deltans. We have said no to Nigeria, same way we said no to Biafra. We want a different nation of our own. We want a Niger Delta Republic consistent of ethnic nations that are suffering under this Nigerian system. We are looking at a similar nation like the UAE, and that is our goal. I hope we have discussed a lot today, but one thing I can assure you, we will not regress in Africa as long as we still have this extreme multi-ethnic, multicultural, multilingual, multi-religious nations and the nation states. It's not going to work. And we're seeing it now, all the theories, philosophies, but in practice, it doesn't work. In practice, this multi-ethnism and extreme multiculturalism, multi-religiousness, it doesn't work. We have all seen it. Nigeria is a failed state today because we are overmixed. We are absolutely overmixed. Nigeria is more diverse than Europe. It's a catastrophe. It's not going to work. We need to change things.
Well, the issue of the ethnicity of African people and so on needs to be protected because everybody is proud of who they are. But we need to do it in a way that does not expose us once more to our enemies. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Hey, we'll go ahead and close out. Emeka, can you share with everybody your contact information, and then Awini, I'll have you go next. And everybody, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody who participated, who joined the chat. Hope you guys enjoyed this. We have to have platforms where we can dialogue in this type of way. But let's end, because I know we had a lot of disagreements. Can we end on something positive, on what we all can agree on, something that we all can agree on as I would say, a collective? So, Emeka, from what you've learned from Awini, what do you agree with what he said, and what can we unite on as a collective? And then after that, go ahead and give people your contact information.
Well, to be very honest, I haven't learned anything from Awini today, because he spoke exactly the same thing I've been hearing from Pan-Africanists and things I disagree with. But I just understand that is seeking for a smooth solution and a smooth way. We all wish that, but we can't continue like this. Why people are dying in my region? Why people are suffering in my region? We need total change. We need drastic measures. We can't repeat and do the same things because that's insanity. And the positive thing I can agree on is just to say that we have agreed on not letting external African powers using us. I think that's what we all agreed on. We don't want anyone to use us against each other. We all want peace in our lives, food on the table of our children and future generations, and a good life. Everyone deserves to live a good life, but we can't live a good life under this current setting. So that is why it is of utmost importance for me and my people to be free from this fascist nation. But the good point is that we agree that it shouldn't be used by external powers against.
Okay. All right. And give people your contact information too if they want to reach out to you.
Yeah, you can get me on Facebook, Emeka Ihruoha. That's me. Just send me a friend request, something like that.
Oh, cool. All right, Awini, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, this having this discussion was dialogue was really refreshing for me to hear the views of the brother from Nigeria. Of
From the
course,
Niger Delta. I insist.
yeah.
I insist.
Uh,
I insist.
well, from the Niger Delta part of Nigeria, because if we are looking for it on a map of geography, at least you haven't created that nation yet. So
We're still occupied by the occupation forces.
yeah, it's been good having the discussion. Everybody has their experience. Like I said, we have our own experience here, which is slightly different, but we share the same issues of marginalization and neglect in some cases. But where I would differ, and I keep saying this, is yes, drastic measures are needed at the point in time. I like the reason of the brother to do something about the situation. But first and foremost, what we need to know is that we are Africans. Not your beginning. You didn't. This is not your beginning. All right. You might want to identify it as your beginning, but I know for a fact that a lot of African groups moved to West Africa from other parts. You know, if you want to identify this as your beginning, that's fine. But I don't stop at where I'm at right now, even though I'm proud of who I am.
We're suffering
I
now.
keep looking.
We're suffering now. Now. People are dying now.
Let him finish up, Emeka, please.
Uh, I decide to look as far back as I can in order for us to all find that point of unity. You see, where we began to diverge and break off as people, and how this has affected us. Because essentially, what we are dealing with
We have
in
to go back to
Africa
the
today,
beginning.
what we are dealing with in Africa today, essentially, is as a result of the splits that have come about. If you study how some ethnic groups came about, you know, they used to belong to and so on and so forth. Let me finish. We need to get back to that point where we begin to massage that nostalgia of being one people. If we are able to push this home, then we would be on a better footing to address our problems. We do not address by saying we want. No, we are Africans first. And you might consider yourself so different, but you're not. See, you're not. And the sooner we identify this and begin to, and it's important to go back. People don't want to do so because they say, okay, let's deal with the now. But to deal with the now, we need to deal with the past about how we must address how is it we decided to start from colonialism, go far colonialism. This is my approach. And if we do this, then we will come to find our commonness. And this will in a new platform for better and more fruitful discussion as to how it is we can live together. Whether we like it or not, even if you succeed in creating your nation, you have to live next door to somebody. There are going to be issues of coexistence. And so we are Africans first. This is my position. And if we go back far enough, you realize that all what we're doing is we're fighting within our family for a share in what has become a country or a nation created by Europeans. And we in this. Yes, I'm not denying the fact that the issue is people have suffered, people have died, deaths as a result of. I study a lot, but I study every day. You see, but to want to break off completely is something that needs to be looked at. And if it must be done, it must be done in a way African interest. That's all I have.
Okay, and then Awini, please give everybody your contact information as well.
Me on +233 249 831 251 +233 249 831 251. You can reach me on awinibaba at gmail.com. Thank you.
Okay. All right, you guys. I appreciate everybody for coming on. Thank you so much. It was great to have this dialogue. And what I really appreciated is that somebody said in the chat room, we didn't cuss out each other. We weren't yelling and screaming at each other. We were just having a normal dialogue and debate, which is important. So again, everybody, thank you for coming on. Please make sure you go to search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Make sure if you're new to this platform on YouTube, please subscribe. Also go to searchforhuru.com, go to dynasamir.com, and go to amazon.com. Search your name, Dynasamir. Please buy a book. Radical Honesty, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Awini, thank you for coming on. And I'm sure we will do this again. So until next time, peace.